Warm darkness. You are 3 days old. You cannot see. You cannot hear. Your entire world is nothing but warmth and invisible pressure. Everything around you feels dense and close. Your mother's body is your entire universe. Her heartbeat is the only sound that exists. You burrow deeper into her soft fur. It carries the sweet scent of milk and the comforting promise of perfect safety. Your littermates constantly push and squeeze you aside, but you're not afraid. This is the oldest survival instinct life has ever known. Then one day, your eyelids slowly part. The first light floods in, so sharp it almost hurts. It pierces through the fragile veil of darkness. The familiar scent begins to fade, replaced by strange air filled with countless drifting specks of dust. Suddenly, the world stretches into something endless. Your stomach aches with hunger. Your tiny paws touch a hard surface for the first time. Somehow the warm comfort of your mother's body is gone. You let out a weak little cry. It disappears into the endless silence. For the first time, you discover what loneliness feels like. Suddenly the ground begins to tremble. Heavy footsteps echo around you. A gigantic shadow falls across the room, swallowing the only tiny source of light. Everything is impossibly enormous. The doorway looks like a canyon. The sofa rises before you like a towering cliff you could never climb. The giant creature slowly bends down. Your tiny body curls up in panic. Your little claws cling desperately to the slippery floor. Then, a massive hand reaches toward you. It has no sharp claws, only a strange, dry warmth you've never felt before. A giant finger gently strokes the back of your neck. A shiver races down your spine. It's impossibly soft, impossibly gentle. Your throat begins to vibrate. A deep rumble escapes without your permission. You're purring for the very first time. The giant carefully lifts you into the air. You're surrounded by warmth once again, but this warmth belongs to an entirely new universe. You soon realize the giant's chest is the warmest place in the world. Every breath lifts you gently upward before lowering you back down again. A living cradle. You spend hours listening to that enormous heartbeat. Its slow, steady rhythm flows through every strand of your fur, reminding you that something unshakable is always there. Then a new scent awakens every one of your senses. A giant hand places a bowl on the floor. Tiny pieces of food rattle into the metal, filling the silence. Your belly is full. Your tongue sweeps up the last tiny crumbs. Pure satisfaction slowly spreads through your tiny body. Time passes. Your body grows longer and stronger. Those clumsy little steps become graceful movements filled with perfect balance. The doorway that once looked like a canyon is now just another step. You leap effortlessly upward, taking in your entire kingdom from above. Your muscles coil like perfect springs. You launch through the air, snatching an invisible speck of dust, floating inside a beam of brilliant white light. You understand every rule of this place. You know which footsteps mean someone is in a hurry, and which quiet breaths mean deep sleep. You know exactly when a warm patch of sunlight will appear on the floor. Somehow, your instincts always tell you to arrive before it does. The golden square of sunlight slowly slides across the hallway floor. It will stay for exactly 40 minutes. You curl up inside it, soaking in every drop of its warmth. Your ears twitch at a distant vibration. A cool draft slips beneath the door. Your giant is coming home. Metal keys jingle softly. Familiar warmth rushes inside, chasing away the cold air. You stand waiting, tail held proudly high. You brush against those enormous legs, leaving behind your own scent. Deep inside, your instincts tell you that this giant belongs to you. Night falls. The house grows quiet. You return to the safest place of all, curled beside the warm heartbeat rising and falling beneath the giant's chest. Everything feels perfect. You believe the warmth, the sunlight, and this great world will last forever. Each day becomes the same perfect loop. You wake up by stomping across the giant's chest, silencing their snoring and demanding breakfast without compromise. The world bends to your will. One sharp meow is all it takes for the empty metal bowl to fill with food once again. And if you're someone's giant too, leave a small mark here before you continue your journey. Your kingdom stretches farther than you could ever imagine, from the warm kitchen floor to the highest shelf in the house. No corner escapes your watchful eyes. You spend hours staring through the window. Outside is chaos. Inside is warmth. And a kingdom that belongs entirely to you. The giant brushes your fur. Gentle strokes scratch away loose hairs, leaving behind a tingling feeling of perfect comfort. As the evening sun paints the walls gold, you curl up once again across those enormous legs. Their heartbeat hums softly beneath the fabric. You believe this strength will never fade. You believe those giant hands will always be there to catch you whenever you slip. But then, something invisible begins to change. Time, the one thing you can never smell, quietly casts its shadow over you. It steals your strength little by little. Your glossy black coat begins to fade, sprinkled with strands of pale grey. You find yourself sleeping more often. Has the warm patch of sunlight started moving faster? Or have you simply stopped chasing it? The windowsill is no longer the perfect lookout. Balancing along its narrow edge now costs far more energy than it once did. The springs in your legs have grown tired. Even jumping onto the familiar sofa now requires careful thought. You hesitate at the edge of the cushion. For the first time, your body refuses to obey your command. The giant notices. They kneel down and hold you close. Their heartbeat races wildly, carrying the unmistakable scent of sorrow. Everything around you suddenly changes. Cold, sterile air fills your nose. Metallic echoes bounce through the unfamiliar room. You're placed onto a freezing metal surface. Panic begins to rise, until the giant's warm hand gently wraps around you once again. Hot tears fall onto your thinning fur. You don't understand why the giant is trembling, or why they're making those heartbreaking sounds. A gentle stroke across your head. A soft touch that melts away every ounce of fear. You blink slowly, trying to offer one last quiet purr in return, but your chest has grown unbearably heavy. The deep rumble that once came so easily has become nothing more than a broken, fragile breath. The world begins to blur. Colours fade into one another until everything becomes a soft grey haze. An overwhelming sleep pulls you closer. The giant leans down, holding you tightly against their chest. Their racing heartbeat presses against your tiny, cooling body. Your ears fold back, shutting out the harsh sounds of the outside world. Now there is only one heartbeat left, the one inside your giant's chest. Thump, thump, thump. The slow, familiar rhythm travels through your fur. Somehow, it awakens a memory older than memory itself. Your eyelids finally close. The harsh white light disappears. Around you, the world grows dense once again, becoming an invisible embrace. The cold metal vanishes. The aching in your bones melts away. Even gravity can no longer hold onto your body. Your giant's heartbeat still echoes through you. It fills your mind, gently carrying you into the deepest sleep you've ever known. The familiar scent fades away, replaced by the sweet fragrance of perfect safety. You're no longer afraid. You're no longer alone. Warm darkness returns. Just like the very beginning, before you knew what light was. Before you ever discovered sunlight, warmth and invisible pressure wrap gently around your tiny body. You're home. You always knew the way back. You are 3 days old, and the cycle begins again.